Hey guys, welcome back to another review, and today we're going to go back to the Masters of the Universe Ultimates figures from Super 7. As we get closer to the end of this wave, we're going to take a look at Ultimate Ram Man today. So we've got his mailer box here, pretty standard stuff, just a brown box. We've got the logo, we've got the name. Let's pull our figure out and take a look at his actual packaging. Alright, so here is Rammy, and we've got the figure on the bubble. We've got our faux mini comic backer card there. We've got our excellent lava burst packaging with the classic Masters logo. We'll spin them around. We've got some new artwork of Ram Man fighting Beast Man there. We've got the kind of vintage style instructional call outs. We've got our Ultimates line, and we've got those new figures on the back. So let's pull this guy out and take a closer look. As with the other videos I've done, we're going to take a quick look at the backer card, the mini comic style card. So we've got Merman meets Ram Man here. You can see Ram Man just bursting out of a staircase, and Merman is freaking out. I think these are great. They're really cool. I mean, obviously getting new mini comics would have been awesome, but I fully understand why we didn't. And this is the next best thing. It's another new piece of artwork, and I can appreciate that. And then, as usual, on the back, we have got the bio for Ram Man, and then the updated story as of now. So there's a lot to read here. Very pumped to get into that. So let's take a look at Ram Man himself now. Ram Man is one of those figures in the line that has drawn the most criticism, I believe, for a couple of reasons. One in particular, we're going to go over that very shortly. So we're going to take a look at articulation first, just to get it out of the way. The head is on a ball peg. So you got normal range of motion, but just like with the original figure, the head is hindered by the armor, so he really can only look so far, and he has no real up or down. Arms can go out, down, and then they got full rotation. We've got a bicep swivel, we've got a single jointed elbow, and then we've got rotation at the wrist. He does have a crunch, but not much of one. And he does have a waist twist. The legs can go out about that far. They go forward about that far. There is a single joint at the knee. He does have rotation at the knee as well. You can see that ball joint swivel there. There's rotation at the boot, and then we've got a hinge at the ankle. Now, let me get him positioned here. There we go. All right, so the big thing with this figure, the armor. So the big thing is that in all of the promotional pictures, hell, even on the back of the card for this figure and for the other Ultimates, it is shown as metallic. It's not. I don't know if we've gotten an official answer yet, but as best I can tell, the armor is just unpainted, kind of marbly gray plastic. So it looks like it has a bit of a sheen to it in the right light, but it's relatively dull, and we're going to go through comparisons of this guy to the original, because obviously this is a different figure. He's probably the most different of all of the Ultimates simply because he has a different color scheme. So this is our, since we're talking about paint and colors, this is our original card back Ram Man. So this is how he was shown on the original cross-sell in the vintage line, but that's not how he turned up. He was always red, and that's how he is in the show. So we've got that original card back art now just to differentiate him and bring him into the Ultimates line. But going back to the paint on him, so there's not really any paint on the helmet, there's not really anything on the armor, there's not anything on the belt. And I can tell you that there's not anything on the belt because if you look inside, he's gray underneath. So this is one piece. The underside is gray, which means that the skirt piece is painted orange. And you can tell that because there's some paint slop or some missing paint there, which tells me that this is just not painted. Why they decided to do this? Not sure. Like I said, I don't think we've gotten an answer from Super 7 on them. It doesn't really bother me too much. I don't ultimately care that much, but I can understand why it has drawn some criticism from fans. So it's something to complain about. People are going to complain about it, and rightly so. It's a problem. It's a miss on Super 7's part. That said, again, it doesn't really bother me. It makes him stand out from the original Ram Man, even more so than he does with the different colors. Now, as far as what he does have, there is some paint on the face. You see, you got the eyes, the eyebrows. We have got different shades of kind of orange and burnt orange on the threads on the tunic. The skirt is painted, as I said. It's not painted all that well. It is for the most part, but then of course I've got this kind of paint splotch right here. Or not a splotch, it's missing paint right there. And then the little orange copper gold baubles on the skirt there. And we've got the painted gold little orbs on the feet and on the cuffs of the boot. As far as, well, actually, let me backtrack a second. There is more paint. The hands are painted. So I'm not sure what color plastic is actually under here, and I don't know why they did this, but the hands are painted flesh tone, and it's not the same color as the arms. They're slightly different. It might be hard to pick up. That's probably a good angle to see. This looks kind of, the best way I can say it's a little cakey. But these are painted for some reason, and the rest is not. Also got a little silver on the joint there. Now, as far as sculpt goes, I mean, if you saw my Ram Man review previously, it's the same figure. There's nothing different there. I think he looks really cool. He's big and bulky. He's not tall or humongous, but he's a bulky figure. He's got some girth to him. So he's definitely like twice as wide as a normal Motu figure for the most part. He's not too much taller, but he is overall bigger, just in the overall scheme of things. I like the armor design. I like everything about the figure in terms of the way he looks. I mean, there's a lot of detail sculpted into the tunic with the wrinkles, with the little skirt pieces, his little Michelin Man legs. He's even got treads on his shoes with the skull down there, which I think is really cool. And then that face is grizzled, and he looks really unhappy. And I really, really like that particular face for Ram Man. Now, he does come with 2 accessories, because there's not a lot to give Ram Man, so they changed up his color scheme for the Ultimates. And we get the same kind of axe that we got with the original figure. This one is a little better in terms of being held by Ram Man. My original figure, it's a lot looser than this. This one still isn't very tight, but it does sit in there pretty well. There's not a lot of detail to it. It's just, you know, it's silver plastic. It's got some black paint on it. But he does come with an extra head. So he's got this extra, the unhelmeted head with the skull cap on it. I do not display him with this one. I just don't care for it. I mean, he's got the blonde hair. You see more of his face this way, but he's still got the same kind of expression, basically the same head, just in a different configuration. So you can kind of use him how you see fit. I just don't. It's not a bad head. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I just prefer the helmeted version for my Ram Man figure. All right, so here is Ultimate Ram Man next to Original Classics Ram Man, and there are a handful of differences between the two. The overall sculpt is obviously, like I said, the same, but there are changes to the color scheme and to the paint scheme for sure. So you can see that everything on the Original Classics Ram Man that is silver is in a metallic finish. So everything has a kind of a sheen to it, and it's got a little bit of a wash in it as well. Obviously, the tunic is a different color. We've got red versus orange, and then we've got the green pants versus red pants, and we've got black boots versus brown boots. Beyond that, the figures are basically the same. You can see that this Ram Man has black in his belt as well. I didn't mention that. And then on the backs, they are the same except for that change in color. You've got the slot to hold the axe. But that's it. That's the big difference, is the color scheme that these two kind of play off against each other. I still prefer this guy to this guy, not because of the metallic paint issue. I just like the color scheme. This is the classic Ram Man for me, so you know, he's kind of the one that I have the most fond memories of. Now, overall with this Ultimates edition, I'd say Ram Man is probably at the bottom of my list. In terms of, you know, if I were to rank him, he's probably the bottom for me. That's simply because he doesn't really come with a lot. There's not a lot that really makes him ultimate. I like the fact that we got him in this new color scheme. I think that's awesome. I'm happy to have a different Ram Man to differentiate him on my shelf. But again, there are some little misses on this figure. We've got the unpainted armor, unpainted belt, where it should have been metallic, and then we've got the paint on the hands for some reason, which I really don't get. They didn't need to do that. They should have just cast it in the same plastic. Overall, it's a good figure, though. It's not a bad figure. They didn't ruin anything or mess anything up in terms of sculpt or articulation. It's just some weird decisions to ultimately get us to where we are with this figure. So that is going to do it for this look at the Super 7 Motu Classics Ram Man figure. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share down below. And until next time, everyone.